Sir, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Sure. Flag is a symbol of our great nation. Long may it wave. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
With liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, will you please do roll call?
Chair Wendell, Vice Chair Bucknell,
Present.
Commissioner Dabbert, Commissioner Fissler,
Here.
Commissioner Wong, Commissioner McGregor,
Here.
Commissioner Freshley,
Here.
Commissioner Moore,
Present.
Commissioner Piros,
Here.
and we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Any announcement of supplemental communication after the agenda distribution?
None this week.
Thank you,
And here's our chair.
thank you, sir, for joining. You know how we like to get started.
Historically, I'm not that late.
No, you're not. And I'm gonna hand the gavel back over to you.
All right, well, where were we?
We are at public comment, sir, right here.
Any public comments? Seeing no one rush to the podium, that brings us to our consent calendar. Anyone want to pull an item from the consent calendar? Seeing none.
I'll move the consent calendar.
Further discussion? Seeing none. Any opposition or abstentions? Consent calendar passes unanimously. Brings us to a public hearing, and let me open our public hearing regarding our budget. The hearing is open. Madam Clerk, any requests to speak?
Not on the budget.
All right, let me close the public hearing, bring it back to the board. Mr. Tapia, and let me say, I'm sure everybody else did, welcome back. Glad to have you here. Ms. Emery. All right, who's presenting the budget?
Mr. Tapia is going to take that.
Yours, sir.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. The item before you is the proposed budget for 25-26 and the fee schedule as well. The proposed budget is balanced and totals approximately $1.837 billion. It does include a 1.2% reduction from the current fiscal year, which is approximately $22,000. The budget is composed of the LAFCO apportionment, the unreserved cash, and investment earnings. Now, the revenues are divided up into three parts. 6% comes from the unreserved cash for the agency, which is approximately $110,000. The interest, which is earned 1.9% of the budget, which is approximately $35,000, and 92.1%, which is the OC LAFCO apportionment, which is approximately $1.69 million. The next graph that I'll show momentarily will show the commission the relationship between drawing down on the reserves and then also the LAFCO increase of the apportionment. And I have Corey Mize from I. Bailey that will present that graph to the commission.
Good morning, members.
Good morning, members of the commission.
My name is Corey Mize. I'm a senior accountant at I. Bailey, and I'm here to present the graph in front of you. So what you're looking at, that blue line represents the proposed apportionment increases in comparison to the orange bar, which is our dollar use of reserves. And as you can see, in past years, we were using a lot more reserves, but then we started this plan where we increased apportionments pretty dramatically to 15, 12%. And as you can see, because of those two increases, in the following years, we're dropping it down to 7. And then what the idea is to get it around the CPI inflation rate. So then our apportionments are just fully covering and we're not using our reserves. Our apportionments are fully covering our expenses.
There's no other questions. I'll hand it to Luis.
Okay.
Thank you, Corey. So the apportionment, the LAFCO apportionment does total approximately $1.69 million, and it is divided in three parts. 1/3 is paid in by the 27 independent special districts, which includes their apportionment is calculated through a formula that was developed by the special districts. Another 1/3 is paid in by the 34 cities in the county, and the last 1/3 is paid in by the county. The overall increase in the apportionment is 7%, which is a reduction from last year, which was a 12%. And then also, in the previous fiscal year, we projected a 12% increase for this year, but it is only a 7% increase that's needed. The agencies, special districts, and cities can expect an increase of approximately $157 to about $8,000. And for the county, it is an increase of $36,896. For the expenditures, it is expected to be $1.837 million, a reduction of 1.2% from the current fiscal year. Some of the areas that do show some increase are the auditing and accounting services, which these are tied into the previous commission-approved increase in the auditing contract for the upcoming fiscal year, and insurance for the agency, educational and legislative partnership. This line item is in line with the commission no longer, we're not going to renew the LAFCO membership. So we're placing some funds to do a partnership with the Southern Region LAFCOs to do educational workshops for staff and commissioners, and to also do legislative partnership to track legislation that could be of LAFCO interest or impact LAFCOs. Other operating expense adjustments are using CPI, trending, and then also information that is provided by the county and OSERs. The expenditures are divided into three parts, one being the operations of the agency, which is 19.8%, which is approximately $362,000. For professional services, 19.1%, which is approximately $350,000. And lastly, the salaries and benefits, which is at 61.1%, which is approximately $1.12 million. And in line with the commission's budget, the commission has a policy to maintain certain reserves, and that includes the contingency of $100,000, legal $75,000, and unfunded liability for $30,000. And I do want to point out the staff report had a minor error. It stated $300,000 for unfunded liability, but it is $30,000. And then the agency must also, per the commission's policy, have a 3 months operation, which for this coming fiscal year would be $459,000. The graph that the commission is seeing on the slide represents the commission's practice to continue to draw down on the unreserved cash to get to that reserve level that is per the policy. So that is being projected is going to get closer in fiscal year 28-29. Additionally, some of the funds that contribute to the unreserved cash are also submitted applications over the past fiscal years. There have been a reduction in submitted applications. Recently, there have been some discussions with some agencies where we're expecting some applications to come in. However, at this point, we're not sure of how many that will be and how much that would impact the unreserved cash. And lastly, as part of the budget, annually, the commission also adopts the fee schedule. The fee schedule for fiscal year 25-26 doesn't have any changes to the fees in relation to any applications. The costs for staff have been updated in relation to the new fiscal year. Therefore, staff is recommending that the commission adopt the proposed fiscal year 25-26 budget, distribute the budget to the funding agencies, and then also to schedule a public hearing for May 14 for the final budget. This concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions commissioners may have.
All right, thank you very much, Luis. Let me bring it back. I see Commissioner Fissler.
Thank you to everyone who spoke and explained this budget. I just have a pretty simple question. Overall increase 7%. I come from a water agency. It's a lot of times, there's prices based on your pipe, 5/8, 1 end, and you might say overall the increase is so much percent, but maybe certain size pipes are getting more of an increase than others. Is this just a flat 7% to every apportionment that exists now for everyone that pays?
So the increase is 7% to the entire apportionment of the agency. However, each specific increase to each agency in relation to special districts and cities is formulated through the formula that each of those agencies have. For example, the special district formula that is used to calculate that percentage, and those are in relation to the revenues for special district revenues reported to the state. As for the cities, that's calculated more on territory and then also population, and that's how the apportionments are figured out through those formulas. But the overall increase, it is a 7% as an apportionment total for the total apportionment for OC LAFCO.
Okay, so they'll look at their newest revenues.
Yes, so the auditor controller is the one that calculates that and has provided that information that's included in the package of how much each of the agencies will be paying for this upcoming fiscal year.
Seeing nothing, thank you. And at this point, I will entertain a motion to approve staff recommendation. Second. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Any opposition or abstentions? All right, see you back here May 14th. All right, up next, 7B, focused municipal service. We've got almost standing room only here for this. Let's go ahead. Carolyn, Mr. Tapia, all right.
You can kick it off.
All right.
Mr. Chair, before we start,
sure.
can I just
Yes.
disclose that my firm represents MODOC and other stakeholders here. Your policy at the study level allows our participation. Mr. Schatz has been engaged to help with some special issues that he'll speak about later.
All right, thank you for that clarification.
Also, Chair, we do have 3 speakers.
Call the speakers, please.
From MODOC, either Dennis or John will be speaking from County Water District, and Harvey Delatorre from MODOC.
All right.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
if
ma'am.
I can just let you know too, we do have the presentations by the consultants as well. So.
Go ahead. We'll start with public comment.
Okay, is it on? It's red.
It's on top.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Al Netterhood. I represent Division 1 for MODOC, which includes Buena Park, La Habra, Brea, parts of Placentia, and Yorba Linda, about 350,000 residents. Springtime and it's spring training, and one of the long-lived traditions in baseball is that you have 3 strikes and you're out. This standard certainly applies to the most recent study of consolidating MODOC and OCWD. A very brief history. The first study was in 1994, no action, strike 1. Second study was 2013, no action, strike 2. The third strike is before you, and my recommendation is to receive and file it. This flawed study needs to join the historical dustbin of the other 2. I know a number of members of the board, and a few of them are here, and I would recommend that they also take this course of action. That is, no further action needed. There are many reasons that I label this study flawed, but let's start with its genesis, which is the grand jury report.
Go ahead, Mr. Dick, get that, we'll wait.
I know. And no, it's a MODOC director. Should I take?
I apologize, Mr. Chairman.
I was calling. Happened to all of us, I'm sure. Go ahead.
Anyhow, there's any number of reasons why I consider this study flawed, but it really goes back to the genesis, which was the grand jury report of 2022. Let me remind you of the very first statement in this executive summary, which was wrong. It said, the future of reliable water supply for California as well as Orange County is at risk. That's not true. Quick counterpoint, Metropolitan, right now and for the foreseeable future, has too much water and literally is desperate to sell its excess. In the last 20 years, because of conservation, Met water sales are down from over 2 million acre feet to about 1 million acre feet. They need water sales to survive. Second, the Orange County water basin is near record high levels, and the financial integrity of OCWD is that they need to sell water, not less water. Water is, especially Orange County, is incredibly reliable. In fact, as I just said, there's too much water right now. In the second paragraph of the grand jury report, another gaping hole in logic, and I quote, however, it is important that Orange County water providers consolidate their resources and establish a unified voice to lead the county more efficiently in its water policies and planning. In fact, anyone familiar with OCWD and MODOC know that both of these organizations are healthy, strong, and efficient. Finally, the third strike in the grand jury report, quote, while the process of supplying wholesale water and groundwater and imported water are arguably and dramatically different and complex, we should change the system. However, their conclusion, all the water flowing to Orange County taps looks the same, whether imported or groundwater, and why shouldn't we have only one water agency? This summary statement is clearly contradictory while proclaiming complexity of water, but hey, no problem, consolidate. Wrong. This is the logical equivalent of saying blood is blood, so just do a transfusion. Or he's a podiatrist, so go ahead, do the brain surgery. The MODOC response to the Orange County water sponsored consolidation report clarifies all the problems in great detail beyond what I've just said. The feasibility standard is quite honestly low. More importantly, consolidation is neither practical nor advisable. The only justifiable response to this consolidation is that's strike 3, you're out of here, and I would encourage you just to receive and file. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Netterhood. Next speaker, please.
That is true.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, committee members. My name is Dennis Bilodeau, and I currently serve as the president of the Orange County Water District. OCWD thanks LAFCO for studying the feasibility of our agency consolidating with MODOC. This has been a good exercise to explore how to potentially improve services to the Orange County ratepayers. Past consolidation discussions have faltered for various reasons, including misinformation, varying opinions on benefits, lack of understanding of the mechanics of the consolidation, and varying estimates of cost savings. OCWD specifically requested LAFCO to study this issue so that your agency can provide an objective and neutral analysis to bring clarity to these matters. The study will be a great reference document and starting point if OCWD and MODOC ever decide to give serious consideration to consolidating in the future. The study identified the issues that need to be addressed in bringing both agencies together. Despite MODOC's lack of interest in consolidating, OCWD is always open to future discussions and considerations, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Next speaker, please.
Harvey Delatorre.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, commissioners and staff. I'm Harvey Delatorre, I'm the general manager of the Municipal Water District of Orange County, and I've been there for probably over 17 years, and so within that short tenure, I have seen this issue brought up a number of times. Like previous speakers, I first want to acknowledge the effort by staff and the consultants team in providing this financial review in regards to consolidation. I've worked with the LAFCO staff as well as the consultants. I will say that they really were very kind, were very respectful and very professional throughout the process. I think it should be acknowledged to the commission upon that. With that being said, as illustrated in our letter, we've noted a number of just concerns as well as very serious aspects that we just kind of saw that the analysis pointed to that simply lacked in the merit, or in essence, the idea or the concept of consolidation. But again, I want to also acknowledge that if you see in this report, all the comments that was provided by numerous entities, in particular MODOC, I want to show that there really was a very professional and thorough analysis and review of that. And so I want to acknowledge and appreciate the staff's as well as the consultants' commitment to having a thorough public process. But one thing I'll highlight that although I've seen this issue being brought up multiple times, what this study kind of reinforced, I think, for a lot of us, was the belief and understanding that this proposed idea is an extremely complicated one. It has a number of difficulties. And although this report was, provided a very objective review, it pretty much confirms the analysis that we have shown that it provides very minimal costs and offers really no measurable improvements in the services, which I believe is the cornerstone upon what LAFCO's intentions are. So as mentioned before also by my director, are we seeking to enhance any water reliability with the residents in the county for that? And you're seeing very minimal, and in fact, you see more complexities associated with that. Perhaps the most significant in regards to the governance structure, the board composition, as well as the limitations that you would see with board members if you created a new entity. You see that this report demonstrates that there would be necessary legislation that would be critical to the functions, including member representation. The impacts associated with finance, governance, services, in particular to the 3 cities associated with Santa Ana, Anaheim, and Fullerton, as well as our member agencies. The reality is that the cost savings programs really do not offset even the significant challenges due to even potentially transition such an endeavor. I'm pleased to say that the report does acknowledge one particular area that we are in agreement with, which is finding 12, that the opportunities between these 2 agencies through collaboration and mutual efforts, through projects and elimination of redundancies, which we are proven and committed to, can create the same level of deliveries and at the same time be able to provide the objectives that this whole endeavor was trying to achieve. So I will say with certainty that the current leadership between John Kennedy and myself, just in a short period of time, within the last 2 years, I think if you ask any of our member agencies or anybody in the water community, that the conflicts, the disputes, the disagreements simply have almost been zero. And that's simply because of 2 entities committed to do the same thing in the sense of achieving reliability, but in different ways. But the commitment to see that both these agencies can have both success in parallel demonstrates the functions and as well as the structure that we have here. And so, although we don't agree with the consolidation, we do agree with the overall benefits that we do want to provide reliability. And And I would say most of the member agencies within the community even support that notion, that these two entities can exist very well. And so in conclusion, I just want to say that MODOC is committed to providing the shared goal of optimizing water management and utilizing the benefits there. And so I appreciate the commission for its time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Delatorre. All right, and this is also a public hearing. No further comments. All right, I will close the public hearing and bring us back to the board at this point. Anybody got anything for us? Oh, that's right. We have a presentation. Go ahead, and consultants, and we're not going to get out of this so easily.
I'll go ahead and introduce the item. I do the commission with a quick overview of the staff recommendations that are for today, which is to receive and file the MSR, to approve the determinations for the MSR and SOI that are relative to the comprehensive MSR that is in line with the 5-year cycle that the commission has, and to approve the notice of exemptions for the SOI and MSR. And now I will turn it over to Webb.
Before you do that, Scott, when we get to it, can we take the recommended action in one motion?
So I'll turn it over
to Albert Webb and Associates with Adam.
Thanks, Luis. I would just say, for the commission's benefit and the public's benefit, we all got the full MSR. We've all read every word of it. And we did receive the updates, comment letters, and all that. So I don't know that we need to rehash a whole lot, Mr. Chairman.
I was going to say, we've heard a lot, we've read it. I don't want to shut you down, but don't dawdle. That's what we're in the presentation.
Yep. Okay, let's keep it snappy.
And yeah, and if anybody has questions, we can go ahead and ask them and stop. I'm not trying to shut anybody down.
Nick, you
Go ahead.
be ready. All right, good morning, commissioners. My name is Autumn DeWoody, and I am a senior analyst at Albert A. Webb Associates based out of Riverside. I am here along with my colleagues from our sister company, Municipal Finance, to present a review of the work we have done on this comprehensive municipal service review and sphere of influence update for Orange County Water District. I have served as project manager on this effort, along with Heidi Sheppy, president of Webb Municipal Finance, and Nick Rosas here, our senior finance manager. Here we go. Our scope of work was based on OCWD's application to LAFCO and consisted of a standard MSR review update, a sphere of influence review update, as well as a feasibility analysis of potential consolidation. So 3 parts. We'll start with the first part. We know the history of OCWD, the 1933 Act. The sphere of influence is about 570 square miles, includes ocean and incorporated area, and it covers about 70% of the county. Past MSRs have been completed, and we are now in the 4th cycle of MSRs. Updates. Here we go. Shown here in this figure is the service area for OCWD. It's about 430 square miles and serves its 19 groundwater producers, cities, 5 water districts, and a water utility. It is a 10-member staff, or 10-member board, and as of 2023, when we started all this, it was 226.5 full-time equivalent employees. OCWD is a sponsor to Cal State Fullerton's Center for Demographic Research, which is a wonderful organization, was very helpful in this study. And I'm so glad they are a sponsor. Their projections show a peak of 2.55 million people by 2045. That then tapers off by 2050 a bit, and we're currently at about 2.4 million people. So MSR reviews conducted since the passage of SB 244 in 2012 include special attention to disadvantaged unincorporated communities, or DUCs, as you know. And using data from the Center for Demographic Research, we determined a total of 11 DUCs within the service area, all within OCWD Division it's just shy of 1 square mile in total. They're within the spheres of Anaheim, Stanton, and Westminster, and they receive water from 3 of the groundwater producers and 4 mutual water companies. We were able to also confirm that these mutuals are also in OCWD's well monitoring program, and because these ducts receive retail water service from the entities listed here, the study found no known infrastructure needs or deficiencies for which OCWD would need to address. These are the many programs and infrastructure that OCWD leads in order to further its charge of the OCWD Act. Listed there, things ranging from treatment to capture, infiltration, monitoring, and water quality. A big part of the study goes into how they manage the basin in a state of fluctuating overdraft. That graph there may give you a sense of how that's done, with 0 being, say, a full bathtub. And as of June 2023, they had 189,000 acre-feet of space to fill. And that is done to keep it in this sweet spot range of about 60 to 70% full for various reasons, including allowing room for recharge as a result of a big storm coming through, and minimize loss to the LA County side of the basin that is in a lower state of overdraft. OCWD certainly has challenges to maintaining its service, and they're ongoing, and they appear to be well managed and planned for based on what we saw in budget allocations, their refurbishment and replacement model, and their CIP. And finally, the other topics we need to cover in the MSR have to do with capacity and resources, and we found they demonstrating based on their rights and entitlements and capacity of their facilities or recharge facilities, and their demonstrated ability in the past water years to recharge more than anticipated. We found the district had sufficient capacity to recharge and to provide its service. Regarding the determination about shared facilities, OCWD partners with many, does many projects with several coming up, including a second emergency connection to South Orange County, additional seawater barrier research in Huntington Beach, PFAS treatment research with the retail suppliers on grant applications related to PFAS and other things. And accountability. That is another MSR determination. We found they showed sufficient accountability, accessibility, and transparency in providing its service, including its robust website and compliance with public access to meetings and such. And now Nick will cover the financial highlights.
Good morning. So the information presented in this slide shows budget totals for OCWD for the preceding 5-year period. And based on our analysis of budget data, most expenditure trends remain consistent. There are 2 main categories of expenses which see much more fluctuation. Those are purchase water and capital improvement costs. As an example, purchase water increased approximately $14 million from fiscal year 23 to 24, while capital improvement costs decreased by $45 million during that same period. And as of July 1st, 2023, the district had approximately $870 million in outstanding debt. This debt's has been used to largely pay for capital improvement projects over a period of time. The current annual debt service of the district is just over $44 million, and that is secured by and paid for by the district's replenishment assessment revenue stream. The next slide. So the district has in place conservative reserve policies to ensure their long-term sustainability. During each of the past 5 years, the district has met the requirements of all of their reserve policies. As at the end of the 22-23 fiscal year, funds in reserve total just over $307 million. As we stated in determination number 4, you'll consider for approval later, the district maintains a high credit rating, has strong sources of revenues, and can continue to meet its obligations and provide services to its customers in the future.
So that's our MSR update. Now we move to the sphere of influence update quickly. The original sphere adopted in 1977 and last reviewed in 2013. The surrounding land uses, we found that open space dominates the area outside the service area. So the sphere is shown in the blue, the service area is shown in the red, and outside the service area is mostly open space with, as expected, residential is most common within, and no changes are requested or recommended at this time. So I had to look at farmland. There's about 16 square miles of designated farmland according to the state's most recent data of 2018. And it's shown there, there we go. There you go. And it's shown there in the southwest corner in green. Sphere of influence determination number 2 speaks to the present and probable need for public facilities and services. And we got a chance to take a peek at their interactive and proprietary replacement and refurbishment model that guides their CIP, their capital improvement program. So currently, last I looked at it, it was 15 of their 19 CIP projects related to targeting contamination and PFAS. And other present needs include diversion and capture of more river flows below Prado and addressing seawater intrusion. These things are also reflected in their annual comprehensive financial report and annual budget. There do exist communities of interest. We found 3 unincorporated areas, 11 ducks, and 9 mutual water companies. All but one of which is within OCWD's well monitoring program. So this slide concludes the SOI update topics. And now we will move to the consolidation feasibility.
Yeah, so the next few slides relate to the consolidation feasibility study performed. Our methodology was to analyze both OCWD and MODOC, including information on the services they provide, the revenue sources, major drivers of cost, and employee and benefit structure to determine if a successor agency would generate cost savings. Our methodology did not assume where the responsibility of the successor agency would fall. We collected data. This was available publicly and requested data from both agencies as well for this analysis, and we confirmed information throughout the process. Based on the data gathered, the assumptions used in the analysis, we identified a number of areas where changes could result in potential cost savings. More information on these findings will follow shortly, and details can be found in Chapter 5 of the study as well. So to help determine feasibility of consolidation, we considered the combined expenses of both entities for a 3-year period of, for the 3 years of data analyzed, that amount was an average of $517 million. We then identified areas where there could be potential costs, and total estimated cost savings were $3.98 million annually. The preliminary board size selected for this analysis was 10. However, the principal act chosen in the formation of the successor agency, along with approval from LAFCO, would ultimately set the number of board members. Some examples of cost savings we identified include a reduction of potentially redundant positions, workers' compensation insurance, office supplies, professional service fees, computer and software expenses, telephone expenses, travel expenses, and training expenses. And there were others, smaller categories among those as well. So total net estimated cost savings includes the evaluation of each of the entities' retirement plans as they are constructed differently. So we analyze scenarios where the successor agency enrolls all employees in either of the existing defined contribution plan or defined benefit plan that each of the entities has. The amounts listed on this slide include the total estimated cost savings, which is in addition to that $3.98 million on the previous slide, if all employees were to be enrolled in each of those plans. And this total cost savings does not include the cost to terminate the CalPERS defined benefit plan. That number would be considered, is considered separately. Let's see, a successor agency will have a total of projected assets of nearly $1.5 billion with a projected net position of approximately $485 million. The most significant impact of the consolidation of consolidation of assets and liabilities on the successor agency would just be the elimination of intercompany receivables and payables. Plus, depending on the decision made for the employee benefits, a potential change in benefit-related assets or liabilities that would show up on the balance sheet as well. The largest balances included in total assets is capital assets, just over $1 billion, and the largest balance offsetting the assets. The net position is debt of over $800 million. Based on our analysis of budget, financial, and other information presented to you today, we've identified the position that consolidation is a viable option. Consolidation would not appear to have an impact on the water supply reliability or the provision of services provided by the successor agency. And while some factors such as one-time transition costs are unknown, there appear to be cost savings which would warrant consideration of this consolidation.
John?
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. John Schatz, Gage's Special Counsel for this matter. I got your message about keeping it short. So there's about 6-7 pages of my analysis in there, which is really exploring the powers and purposes of the two agencies and their authority under the statutes. So obviously, you spent a lot of time looking at the grand jury reports and the responses and the legal opinions. There's a few of them out there. In particular, there are two that OCWD's counsel going to 2011 and 2013. Also, I had some discussions, of course, with all those entities and also Metropolitan Water District. This last note here about importance of local LAFCO process is really prompted by some comments about just legislation, getting legislation to resolve all this and LAFCO. Problem, I think, because it would you'd be ignoring or foregoing a local process. It's obvious that's needed in this case, given the complexity and a local review rather than Sacramento telling you what it's supposed to look like. So we had two tranches here. We had MODOC as a successor entity, called the 1911 Act district. They're also currently have been a member agency for a long time. They have broad authorities. There's quite a bit of research that's included in my authority of municipal water districts, and in particular, what is that authority as it relates to groundwater? One of the big questions is legislation needed to incorporate special provision necessary for MODOC managed basin. And I would say, sorry, it sounds like an attorney, but it depends on what the application looks like. So I would say the opinion is really foundational, but not positive as it relates to, because we don't know what the application might look like. If MODOC and OCWD decide they want to consolidate, they'll find a way to do it. And I assume they'll be collaborative on any particular legislation. One of the notions I think that's been assumed is whether or not you're just going to plant OCWD special act provisions into this water district. We don't know yet. It depends on what the application says. There's different methods and means to manage the groundwater basin. OCWD has particular tools that are based on incentives and disincentives financially to do that. MODOC's powers under the 11 Act are more broad and not as specific, in particular to how OCWD has been managing. So again, if it's friendly, it's fine. They'll figure it out. If it's not, it's going to be legislate and litigate, probably involving Sacramento and who has the best lobbyists. So under one tranche here, OCWD is successor entity. The fundamental problem or challenge, I'll say, for OCWD is they're not a member agency. The Met Act, Metropolitan Water District Act, specifies about a half dozen different types of entities. Special Act district like MODOC is not one of those. MODOC is. There's been some ways, suggestions about how to address that, just getting legislation, or actually, making an application at Metropolitan and maybe trying to open the Med Act to do that. I can tell you, for folks that are involved with Met will know, there's a lot of resistance opening up the Med Act because there will be all sorts of other things that will want to creep in there. It will become an omnibus for a bunch of other things. So it shouldn't be regarded lightly that it's a matter of opening the Act and OCWD. The board also has discretion on that. There have been member agencies even preceding OCWD. And again, depending on the application as to how it would work, what the governance model would look like, and we didn't attempt to tackle that in any detail other than to put a place marker by it because, again, we're presupposing what an application might look like. I think I'm done. So if you have anything, of course, I'll answer any questions. Thanks.
Thank you. Don't go far. We have questions. Thank you very much. Back to you, Mr.
So Commission, the staff recommendations as previously noted to adopt the determinations for the SOI and the MSR for the comprehensive part of the MSR, and to also approve the notice of exemption for the SOI and MSR. This concludes the presentation, and staff and also the consultants are open for any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Let me bring it back. See if anybody's got any questions, comments. A motion.
This has been quite an education. It's been very illuminating as all the issues. I'm prepared to make a motion on the staff recommendation, but I just want to, that I think we left a pretty big number hanging out there that OCWD is $870 million in debt. And I want to explain that. And I don't know if Dennis or John want to comment, but we have over the last 5 years been fighting contamination of groundwater basins. Come to us from the Inland Empire. And I think about $500 million of that money is directly related to PFAS. And that's going to be recovered, a lot of it, through lawsuits and other methods of recovery. So I just don't
I think you should clarify what we're voting on because it gets foggy there specifically.
It's the five.
All right, the bullet points are in the staff recommendation. Walk us through each of them, clarify. If you have questions, we can try to answer them. But walk us through each of the 5 bullet points.
Sure. So the first is to find that the focus MSR is exempt from CEQA according to the guidelines of section 15262 to receive and file the MSR, to approve the determinations for the MSR, and to approve the determinations for the SOI, to approve the notice of exemption for the SOI, and then also for the MSR.
Questions? You're clear?
Oh, I'm clear.
Okay.
I was clear at the start, but what I didn't think was that I've heard discussion that it looked as if we were voting for something else. It was very clear because we did read this. And I think I actually went back and looked at previous MSRs to see if there was a big change over time. So I thought I wanted to really understand it. And I want to make sure that we all know that's all we're really voting on.
Further questions, comments, discussions? All right. There's a motion, there's a second. Any opposition? Any abstentions? Matter carries unanimously. All right, an enormous amount of work. Thank you, guys. Comprehensive, responsive to community issues and input, and much appreciated. Thank you. All right, that brings us to item 8, which is commission discussion and actions. We will start with 8A, personnel policies and procedures.
Mr. Chair, our commission clerk is going to do a very brief presentation on that item.
All right.
Good morning, Commissioners. On an annual basis, the Commission reviews and adopts the OC personnel policies and procedures. The policy is reviewed by staff and general counsel to identify any amendments due to changes in law or procedures. Staff report, and I and general counsel are available for any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Let me come back to the commission. Anybody? Further discussion? Any opposition or abstention? Seeing none, item 8A passes unanimously. Thank you very much. We are now at item 9, which is commissioner comments. Ladies and gentlemen, give the order. Anybody? Mr. Dabbert.
Just very quickly, we all love our LAFCO groupies. One of our LAFCO groupies is about to move on to the next adventure in life. So we want to thank Senator John Lewis for all the years he has spent sitting in that chair. And his service to Orange County and his service to the state of California, frankly. And I just wanted to wish him the best. Thanks. Sir.
Thank you very much, Senator. Commissioner Buckman.
Thank you. Congratulations for moving on and doing something fun, I hope, and relaxing. Just really quick, now, once this report is done, so what happens with the grand jury and the observation? What the next steps are?
Well, that grand jury no longer exists, so.
It's a new grand jury.
Question for council.
I thought it would be helpful.
Staff can respond. Your response to the grand jury already was that there's an awesome platform, this one that you brought to effect today, to address those questions. And so my guess is that when they reconvene, if there are outstanding issues, they'll turn to this and then pursue further questions if they have them. But what we did basically say, hey, that's a great idea, we already do that, and then amplified and accelerated the process on these two agencies.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Sir.
I just want to say thank you to John too. He's a water, and he's been having fun, but he does a lot of traveling already. So thank you, John.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Seeing none. Our executive officer's report. Is that right?
Sure, just two quick things. Your 700 forms just kind of go under informational announcements as well, or in your folders. So our commission clerk will pull any of the commissioners who have already filed with your home agencies. Contact that due date is April 1st, so that's just a reminder. You have your upcoming strategic plan on April 4th. And I was asked by Mr. Kelly to just remind you, if you have not completed what he did email to you, he's going to be following up with a reminder. So with that, that concludes my presentation or announcements.
And I believe it's in the report, but we are looking for morning into the early afternoon if necessary on the 4th. Correct. So please, if you can, give us the time. All right, council, need for a closed session?
Not today.
Good answer. All right, that concludes today's business. The next regular commission meeting will be held on Wednesday, May 14th, 2025, right here. But don't let that fool you. April 4th comes up first, and we'll be doing our strategic planning workshop in April. All right, unless anyone else has anything, we will stand adjourned. Thank you all. Thanks for getting started with